What's up? Today I'm going to be taking a look at the FRSKY M7 gimbals for my Taranis QX7 right here. Recently I haven't really liked how these stock gimbals felt, and I don't think you could hear it on camera, but the throttle stick when I'm always on my simulator doesn't make, it makes a weird sound, like a kind of a scraping sound, so I decided to pick these up. I got them from Race Day Quads. They were about $20 a piece. And I decided it was just about time. So I'm going to be doing an unboxing and installation of these gimbals, and I'll show you how to set them up. So these gimbals come in pretty simple packaging, nothing but the gimbal, nice little cover on top of it, and here is the gimbal, and with it comes with a little bag of screws. I don't know if you can see that, for screwing it down and fixing the springs. Yeah, there's 4 screws for putting it inside and securing it, and then I don't know if you can see there's a smaller screw to set the spring for your throttle stick. So I'll get both of these open. Both of these come centered, so you will have to do the spring adjustment for the throttle by yourself. Like, to look at these feel pretty tight, so I will keep the springs really loose. I really don't like how tight these feel, really stiff, but they feel great. All metal construction, your little lead coming off the back, and the difference between these and the stock gimbals, I believe, are that the stock ones use potentiometers and these ones use Hall sensors, hence the name Hall sensor gimbals. So now let's break open my Taranis. So I have these grip tapes on the side, so I don't know if I'll be able to get the back cover off. So I'll get back to you when I get this cover off. Okay, so the back cover is off, and you have to take 2 screws off right here that you see whenever you have a Taranis in front of you. Just look in the back and you'll see those 2 screws. And there's 2 screws down here which you have to access by taking the battery cover off. And just keep those screws aside. You don't want to lose them. So on the inside, you can see these. I don't know if you can see these pins right here where the external module bay is, but you'll have to take that off too, and be careful not to bend them while taking them off, and also while putting the cover back on. So inside you have these 2 little white pieces, and then you'll have the gimbal themselves. All of the gimbals each have 4 screws on the outside, on each corner, and then there's these 2 white pieces that hold the wires in, so we'll need to take those off to get the wires out. I'll be back when I have all those screws out. So I've removed all the screws in the back that are necessary for this installation. So I have taken out all of these screws holding the gimbals in place, and they're loose now. And then I also took off these little white pieces that were holding in the wires on the side, so we could pull these wires for the gimbals out. So I'll carefully remove the gimbals from the casing, and be careful not to take this ring sitting in the hole with it, because that will be needed for any for the gimbals that I'll be putting in next. The connector seems pretty delicate, so I'll be careful with that. Then the next side, I'll pull out carefully. Then these connectors really don't want to come out, so I'll be back when I have them out. So I finally got the connectors for the old gimbals out. I just had to pry them out with a screwdriver. I didn't want to hurt the connectors that were on the board. So yeah, that's that. So these are the old gimbals. These are what they look like on the inside. I've never seen gimbals on the inside before. Pretty cool how they work. These are the springs, actually. So we'll be tightening these on the new gimbals once I put them in. Now, if I take these away, put them to the side, and remove these. I was trying not to put too much pressure on the gimbals or any of the switches, because I didn't want to hurt them if I ever need them in the future. So, for the new gimbals, you place them in... well, shit. I don't really know. But, let's see. Both of them are identical. You don't know which side which. So I'll be back when I could find out which orientation to put them in. So I figured out that when you put these gimbals in, you just want to have the wires go to the outside, but the wire is just barely long enough to go in this way, and when the gimbal is moved down, it'll stretch the wire beyond where it should be. So I'll leave these outside of that little white cable organizer. And just before I put these in the casing, I don't know if you could see, but when I moved the stick down, this is this gimbal that I'm going to use for throttle. You can see if in order to get free movement without tension, there's this little hole where you could put a screw in, which is included with the kit. Focus. Yeah, so that screw goes into that hole. And since I want to use that thing for throttle, and I am mode 2, so this will be going in this hole. I will try to disengage the spring by going like that and screwing it in. It's kind of finicky. It doesn't really want to go in, but just manhandle it and you'll get it. You want to tighten this all the way down. You don't really want any wiggle room, because wiggle room is not good. That is tight enough. And now you can see I have free range with this stick, and I will tighten these springs once I have them inside the casing. Tighten the spring just on this axis, the rest of them I'll loosen, because this is really floppy. Like, it will not hold its position. So now I'm going to screw these in. So since I am mode 2, my throttle will be on the right hand side, which will be, or the left hand side, my bad, which will be this side. So I'll put this in. Stick won't go through. Put this into the little hole. And this did come with screws to put it inside this little casing. So the screws that came with the old gimbals to hold them in, I'll just keep those in a box with the old gimbals. So in case I ever need to put them back in, I'll have them. So I'll put the other gimbal in. Doesn't really matter upside down or what. You just stick them in there. You tend to leave these springs, the screws to the springs, upwards. So I'll just go with that. And it comes with just about identical screws that for the ones that were in there previously. So I will just tighten these down and get back to you when that's done. Okay, so I plugged the connectors in now. The gimbals are in, everything is perfect. The gimbals are screwed in, the wires for the switches are tucked in, and they're organized by the little clip again. Everything is back to normal. I kind of put a little crack in the connector on this side, but nothing serious. Now I just have to tighten the springs down, especially for the throttle stick. So I will take it's a Phillips head screwdriver, and I will go down here and tighten down springs. So I don't know if you could see on one side there is a little notch, and one spring is smooth, and the notch is for a more ratchety feel, which I personally don't like that much. And then there's the smooth feel, which I like, so I'll tighten that down a few turns. That doesn't do much, only after a few turns, so a little bit more. think I'll have to tighten down a lot to get really any feel. Okay, so it's starting to get a little better. Starting to have a little bit more resistance to when I push. I will add a little bit of ratcheting in there actually, because it's good to have a little, just a teeny bit. Yeah. These gimbals, just from moving them right here, feel really smooth. So I'll continue to tighten these down until I feel like they're nice, and then yeah, I'll be back a bit. The springs are now tightened just to my liking. They feel really nice, and now I just have to put the back casing on back again. So once again, there's those external module bay pins, which you have to be super careful of. You can kind of see them right there. And you just want to, now that everything's back together, I have a perfectly functioning Taranis, so I'll put the batteries in, and we'll put the back cover on and the back module cover on, and I'll give you my thoughts on the gimbals, how they feel now that they're all in there. And I think that there's gonna be way big improvement over the old gimbals. They feel super nice. They do have a really strong center. Whenever you go from left to right or up to down, you definitely feel that center. They feel super solid. I don't think they'll wear out. They'll last way longer than those other ones. They have that a really nice look to them. They look so much nicer. And I'll cut to me after I fly on the simulator, and I'll give you my feedback after actually using these. Okay, so I spent about 20 minutes on the simulator Velocidrone with these new gimbals, and I can say that these are by far the best gimbals I've ever felt. I don't see why anyone shouldn't get them. They're pretty cheap, actually. I mean, it's $40 for both of them. That's a pretty good deal. They're not too bad to install, and they feel great. They feel buttery smooth. They took a few races to get used to, because they really want to stay centered. But after you get over the little bit of learning curve, it's great. I will definitely suggest that anyone buys these. And that's all. Comment with questions, concerns, subscribe, and smash that like button. Thank you.